The Shed is high volume. We have a small crew that's been with us a long time, so we have an average of 5,000 to 6,000 people a week that run through the front doors of the Shed. We'll serve 2,000 pounds of meat a day in our peak season, and that does not include what we're shipping out every day.
40 to 50 briskets, 60, 70 pork butts, 200 or 300 racks of ribs, 150 gallons of sauce every 4 days. And every day it seems like we're cooking more and more.
So here at the Shed, we have two facets, right? We have the Shed BBQ and Blues Joint, and then we have the Saucery, which is our co-packing facility.
That's where we make all our fresh seasonings, our fresh sauce. Today, Scott, the saucer, he whipped up a batch of our Southern Sweet, which is what we use at the Shed every day, all day. That's our jam, so tomato-based, sweet. Of course, you know, it's gotta be sweet, we're in Mississippi. What you're hearing behind us is our bottling line, so all the sauce that we put on the plates at the Shed, we make here, and then any retail bottles that you see somewhere, we also produce that. We're filling them, they're getting lids put on, labels put on, date code, heat shrink, and out in the mail to somebody. We don't know who you are yet, but we could appreciate the order.
So apart from bottling at the Saucery, we also facilitate the rubs, super fresh, all fresh ground products.
We're gonna make a world famous Shed rib rub. 7 ingredients, but I can't tell you how much it is.
And Scott has worked at the Saucery since day one.
There's gonna be a total of 75 pounds of brown sugar that goes in there.
We're in South Mississippi and we like sweet.
We're right next to Louisiana, which is like the sugar capital of the United States. Barbecue in regionality is about getting something that's from your local area. If you're buying sugar, it probably came from Louisiana. Keep it sweet and sticky, just like the humidity around here.
And I gotta make sure it mixes all the way in. I would hate for them to grab a handful and just get all spiced or something, you know? We're gonna box this up. We'll send it next door to the Shed, and they'll probably use it fairly quickly.
Best ribs in the business. Seaboard Farms, Prairie Fresh. So we'll start out, fresh cases. We'll get our rib rub that we just picked up from the Saucery. We'll rub them up, put them on some pans, get them in the smoker. We season them a little bit differently, trying to get all the sides. We're rolling right into a tub. Sometimes if we're crazy busy, we'll roll them in a barrel. Depends on how many racks that we gotta do.
With our ribs, we don't shoot for a competition style rib. A competition style rib would be one that you can take a bite out of and see your bite mark. What all of our fans and all of our regulars have come used to, and what we've found the majority of the public likes, is a fall off the bone rib. All right, these are all done being seasoned. They'll go in the walk-in overnight and be cooked tomorrow. So these have been marinating overnight. All the brown sugar is basically penetrated the entire rack.
For ease of use, we put all the ribs on trays because when you're doing so many, it's a little hard to get in there. That's why these racks in here continue to be a little bit cleaner, but everything else we're cooking directly on.
And I think honestly we retain a lot of the moisture on the ribs by doing it this way. You're not wide open drying out the entire rib, because when we go into our wrap stage, we've still got moisture in that meat because they're sitting on top of each other.
So at the Shed, we're here day in and day out, but we also compete on the barbecue circuit. And that's a whole nother animal. We're competing, we have a large competition team. I'm blessed to say that we have won the World Grain Championship twice. Our guests here love it falling off the bone, and that's what we serve. On the barbecue circuit, it's a little different. If your meat's falling off the bone, you're not gonna score very well.
All right, so let's get in on some ribs. So these are halfway through. These are about 150 degrees, right when all that fat starts to render and you get that beautiful orangey red color to them. So what we're looking for on the ribs is to see that nice color on them. You can see the fat starting to render out. You could totally eat this rib, not a problem. But our next step, we call it the cut and wrap, and it's twofold. So not only does it allow us to have a beautiful rack of ribs, but once we score the backside, they come apart in 4 and 6 bones each, so it also helps with the efficiency of the line. So it's a 3-hour process with the cut and wrap happening pretty much right in the middle of it.
So this is our rib rub that every rib has been seasoned in raw, and then our original sauce. And all we're doing is adding another layer of flavor. Flavor and adding moisture with the sauce on the cook. Gives it a really good finish too, even coming straight out of the foil. It's just it's a southern sweet brown sugar base. We're in the South, so everything's got a lot of sugar in it. And then when we're putting them on the rack, if you notice, they're actually upside down. So the top of that rib is what's sitting on the downside. So all those juices, all that sauce is sitting on the top of that. Otherwise, you're just gonna end up with too much bark. It's too much brown sugar, too much sweet, too much smoke.
These were featured on the season 2 of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, and still to this day, people come in and say, well, what guy, he had the baby backs? Amen, let's go. They're gonna go back into the smoker for another hour. As soon as they get tender, they're going straight to the line.
So it's been about 2 hours since we did the cut and wrap on the ribs. It's time to open up the old hickory and see where they're at. I always like to pull one from the middle of the pan. All the ends will get done first. So if you want like a true test on if these are done or not, you always want to pull it from the middle. And as you can see, all those juices are sitting right inside the foil. And the ribs have been sitting face down in it. So we end up with a picture perfect, extremely juicy, fall off the bone rib. These will be going straight up to the line to put on plates. So this is the beginning of our pork butts, the beginning of the pulled pork. It's a very simple recipe. We literally just do minced garlic and a lot of it. Pecan smoked. Honestly, the simpler, the better. When we tell people that we only do garlic on our pork, they look at us and think that we're lying to them. They think we're not wanting to give them the secret. But it's legitimately just minced garlic. It's won us national awards. Reid and Kelly's hometown grill off. We won that with a pork sandwich with a slaw topper. We always run our pork on the left and our brisket on the right. We'll stack our bigger butts will go on the top racks, our smaller ones will go on the bottom. And that's that 10-degree difference in the rack. So your top rack's always consistently running a little bit hotter than your bottom. So with us putting these on top of each other, as this cooker rotates, we're gonna have our own drippings dropping on each other. So it'll be self-basting the entire time we cook. So when we open it in the morning, it's literally gonna look like we've been glazing it the entire time. So these have come from the Saucery. They'll trim the decal off, that hard piece of fat that is not gonna render out. So the fact that we don't have to trim brisket here in-house and it's coming from the Saucery is about the best thing we could ask for here. All right, so a Texas style rub would be a salt, pepper style rub. We got turbinado sugar, garlic salt, black pepper. That's about it.
So right now it's all about covering the meat, making sure it gets in each crevice. Once I rub it, I'll start stacking them. So they'll just sit on top of each other to really help get in the grain of the meat.
So when we go in, we're gonna put that cap towards the firebox. That keeps the flat, which is a thinner cut. It's gonna help keep it moist.
The Shed, in a nutshell, was originally built out of one man's trash is another man's treasure. We built it on a shoestring budget without the shoestrings. So I was 19, Brad was 24, and we used Brad's dumpster diving treasures to kind of build out the first original shed. 23 years later, we're on 30 acres, and all of it is just really handing it back to growing grassroots, but also having an amazing crew.
This crew is exactly what I feel like every restaurant and every barbecue joint deserves. Is people that believe in the product, they believe in what we're doing.
Everybody's in it to win it.
We're getting all the pans laid out to get the pork and briskets pulled off for the day. So we're looking for that, looking towards the cap. I want to see it kind of bounce like that. See how it's kind of rolling back and forth like a wave? You don't want them to be too stiff, but you also don't want them to be, you don't want your finger to just slide straight through the flat. So we're pulling these, the butcher paper, about an arm's length, and then we will double wrap every single brisket. What it's gonna do is it's gonna maintain all the juices, finish off the bark, and it won't continue cooking. It slows down how fast it's continuing to cook while we hold. So when we're folding, I do side to side. We're trying to maintain as much of the juice as we can. It's gonna naturally seep out. And then I'll turn it sideways, upside down, and actually roll it. And honestly, that's just one way I have found to keep it tight. And then you end up back on the top.
And we've tried so many different ways. I mean, we've wrapped them in cellophane before, we've wrapped them in foil, started doing the butcher paper, and that butcher paper just solidifies all the juices and makes that bark just stick right to the outside of every slice. But we're just trying to keep them to right around 150 degrees. They'll go to the line. All these will be sold today. Service is at 11. So there is that resting period, that marinating in its own juices, creating that bark.
And we're trained all the way to our line. Our line knows what to feel for. If it doesn't look good, we're not serving it.
We got the briskets done, they're wrapped, ready for service. Now we're gonna check the pork. All right, so the idea is we're gonna make a mountain of pork, okay?
Oh, okay.
All right, so we got, I think, 36 butts here. On a perfect day, we'll pull them off. We'll let them cool down to around 140 degrees. That's when we'll go in and start pulling all the pork, mixing in the top bark really, really well. It's all hands on deck always when we're pulling the pork.
We have a double pull system where we'll pull the pork down, hand that over, let somebody else give it some love and filter through it a little bit so we don't waste anything.
So even though it just looks like we're kind of tearing it apart, there's some technique that goes to it. We're gonna leave the bigger chunks and bigger chunks just to retain the moisture. You know, all I'm doing right now is going through, pulling out cartilage and bone.
That's what we're looking for. That's exactly how we'd layer it on a pork sandwich. Coleslaw topper, we are in the South.
Now we're getting the pans full. These will actually go up to the serving line, and we're getting all the flavor into the pan.
Right now, we're dealing with our lunch rush, and typically the lunch rush lasts from like 10:30 to 2:30. All right, I got a brisket sliced, got the pork sandwich, then you got a baby back plate, TT.
Barbecue in Mississippi is sweet, it's to the point. You get exactly what you're expecting. You know, we're on the coast of Mississippi, and every state has different regions of their state. We encapsulate Southern barbecue in Southern Mississippi. We do it with dark brown sugar, fresh spices, pecan wood, and just a lot of grit.
That's
you know,
right.
we don't have grits on the menu, but it's a lot of grit to make this happen.